Welcome to DFS Insights, where the game behind the game comes to life. I'm David Geislinger, and alongside me is David Grant Jr., my cousin and co-strategist. The teams up on the block are the Los Angeles Lakers at the Sacramento Kings.
Yes, sir. This is where each of us are going to be giving you our three key players to focus on while creating each of your lineups. David and I are going to give you a quick breakdown of what we like about the three key plays, and make sure to stay tuned until the end, where we're going to give out two completely free lineups for you.
Yes, speaking of that, if you are eager to see the end game first, we do have those two free lineups waiting for you in the lineup timestamp listed in the description below. They are tailor-made for tonight's matchup. But if you're here to craft a winning strategy with depth, go ahead and stick around. We're about to deep dive into three key players each and insights on the overall game matchup that can help you build not just one, but multiple lineups. So whether you're here, just to get those free lineups or, to stick around and get the full game plan, we do have you covered. And here we go again. Kings, our Los Angeles Lakers at the Kings here. This is basically our second matchup here with the Lakers and the Kings in about a week and a half. Last one being on the 6th of March with Kings emerging victorious there. We got the Lakers somehow favored by 1.5 points, which is weird because Kings are basically 7-0 in the Anthony Davis era as a Laker, with Sabonis and Fox. So, hey, to each his own, I guess. The over/under sitting at 239.5, so this should be a pretty high-scoring game. Lakers, their offensive rating is 115. That's about average. Their defensive rating is pretty low. It's 115 as well, 0.3. Their pace is 101.19. Kings offensive rating 116.8. Their defensive rating's slightly worse, 116.5, and their pace is about 100.24. So Pacers actually do have a little bit of an up pace on the Kings, which is impressive, but because Kings actually run the ball quite a bit. This matchup might be a little slower. This is a Kings second of a back-to-back. Lakers are well rested, so interesting to see how that plays. We do have some key injuries here. Before we get to that, I want to go ahead and go over the last matchup we did. Like I mentioned, it was on the 6th of this month of March, and the previous matchup is as seen on the screen here. Looking like Sabonis coming in at 61 fantasy points for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox 57.8, LeBron James 56.5, and Rui Hachimura 40.2, the top two high-scoring players on each team. Keep in mind, LeBron James, I think, did walk off the court, whether he was hurt or upset or for whatever reason, with a few minutes left there. So whether or not he would have played those few minutes, maybe potentially got a few extra. Here's the lineup. Kings won 130 to 120. Optimal lineup for that matchup is on the screen now, which has Sabonis at your MVP, Fox at your star, James at your pro, Hachimura utility, Trey Lyles utility. So that's a pretty interesting combination there. The top three really aren't a shock. As Sabonis, bigs against Lakers, we always say that here. De'Aaron Fox, he did go off. James had, pretty good field day. Obviously the surprising ones were Hachimura and Trey Lyles being, I think, probably just the value play there.
And Trey Lyles is out this game, and so that won't even be a possibility to be optimal.
Trey Lyles is out this game. Nice, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah, so well, speaking of injuries, we'll go over them. It is the Lakers, so we'll start off with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, our game time decisions. However, Anthony Davis is a probable game time decision, where LeBron is a questionable. And they do have several outs here. They have Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, Gabe Vincent, Colin Castleton, Jared Vanderbilt are all out for them. However, the only one that really seen any kind of time recently would be Cam Reddish, who played, I think, a few games after coming back in injury, a few minutes. So really the rotation's not affected all that much with those outs. However, Kings have a few players out that, going to be kind of taking note. Keegan Murray officially listed as out. Trey Lyles, as you mentioned, and Sasha Vesnikov, who's been out for a while now. So yeah, with Trey Lyles and Keegan Murray being the key there, someone's going to need to step up and get that usage, those points, those minutes there. So with that, do you have anything you want to add as the overall game matchup before we get over to our key players here?
No, I think that about covers that. Yeah, I'm ready for the key players this time, baby. Let's get over to it.
Key players here. Who do you got? Who's your first of three?
So my first is going to be Mr. De'Aaron Fox.
Fox, got it.
Yes, sir. Man, I was a little hesitant to pull the trigger on him when they played just a week ago, only because of the injury status. He had a little shoulder thing. He had been a little dinged up, and so that had scared me off of him, even though it shouldn't have. When he plays the Lakers, he absolutely crushes them. As you see, he was in the optimal lineup last time they played. This whole season, 10, 29, 23, he had 56 fantasy points. When we played them on 11-15, again, I know this is earlier in the year, he had 50 fantasy points. And then he had above 50 fantasy points again just a week ago when we played him. He hit a career high 43 real life points. It was 43 or 45. I believe it was 43. And so, he just has the Lakers number. He did it all. He takes it to the rack. He has a pull-up jumper. He has a pull-up three-pointer now. The growth he's made is just, I'm really impressed. So he's got the Lakers number. And again, man, out of all four stars, he's the cheapest one. At $14K, he could be MVP. I would prefer him at the star, but I will be having exposure to him in the MVP, the star, and the pro. But at 14,000, that's a must roster. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to get her. I'll be over the field exposure on him and just mixing it up in the MVP, star, and pro spots to differentiate the ownership there. Mm-hmm. So that's my first pick. What are your thoughts on that? And then who do you got for your first pick?
Well, I'll just second your opinion here, going on to De'Aaron Fox as also my first pick. Just clearly, looking at his last 5 games, averaging 35.8 minutes, his usage is at 31.1. He's averaging about 47 fantasy points in this one. This matchup, he's roughly projected about 50.3. So as you can see, that's clearly, I do like him at basically all spots, MVP, star, pro. No point of putting him in utility. If he's in utility, he probably wouldn't be in the optimal lineup. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. His usage is actually increased with Keegan out. It increases about 2.5%, so up to about 33.6 with Keegan Murray out, which is insane. Last matchup, he was also 14K. His ownership values, he was roughly about 10.5 5% in the MVP, 24.4 in the star, and 15% in the pro, 1.6 in utility. So, and he ended up in the star, his highest spot. So, this matchup, I'm going to have him probably in all three, sprinkling him in based on how many lineups I decide to go with. But I clearly see him as a must roster unless any kind of news comes up about his shoulder injury there. So, but I haven't heard anything. Fortunate enough, he only played 32 minutes against Milwaukee yesterday on the 12th. So yes, clearly, I mean, if he would have played higher minutes, upper 30s, things like that, maybe, be a little bit worried, but with 32 minutes, it seems to be on the lower end of his spectrum, so I have a good feeling about playing him with really no worries there.
Yeah, same here. And they're also on 3 games in 4 nights, and he also played only 33 minutes against Houston. So that's also, like you're mentioning, a plus. He had the lower 30s so that if, we could just really take it to him this game. If he needs to play the 38 minutes, he'll be good to go to play that. So,
yep.
Right on. Well, who do you got here for your second pick?
Second pick, I got Mr. Questionable himself, Mr. LeBron James. It seems like he's been Mr. Questionable all season. If he can just give me 100% clarity on, each game would be nice. But it is what it is. Last 5 games, he's averaging 35.5. His usage is, one of the top on the Lakers at 27. He's averaging 50.1. He's projected 58.3. As we mentioned, earlier that, he does have field days against Kings. There's always 1 or 2 players that go career nights against the Kings. It seems like every night. So it's just basically picking at who's it going to be. I do like him in all the top, the multiplier spots, MVP, star, pro. Even though he's, 67 years old now, he's still, one of the top, one of the top players. So, he was, in the optimal at the pro. Last game, his ownership was, he was 18% owned in the pro. Last matchup, 24.9 star, 9.4 pro, 0.6 utility. He was 15K last matchup. He's currently at 14.5. So you save 5 on him this matchup. So yeah, overall I like him. I will be, using him basically. Like I said, I think it's going to be basically a rotation of, those top 4 players in the multiplier spots, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
nice.
What do you think about that? And then who you got?
Yeah, that's looks like we've been on the same page. I mean, you and I are diehard Kings fans, so we pretty much know, what's going on especially when they play the Lakers. And LeBron is just, I can't believe he's only 14.5. How does he go down 500 from last matchup? I'm shocked because he did great last matchup. He had 57 fantasy points last matchup against us. And then just going back, again, this season he had a 67 fantasy point game. His worst was a 49 fantasy point game. That was like the second or third game of the season. But then even going into last season, he had a 60 fantasy point, 56, and a 58. Their squad and our team are, pretty similar to what they were last year. I know we didn't make any moves. They kind of have, but all the moves they made, their guys are all hurt. So it's not like a whole lot's going on. I can't believe he's 14.5. That also to me seems to be like a must play. More trustworthy than Anthony Davis, who is 0-12 or 0-14 against European big men. That includes Nikola Jokic and Domantas Sabonis. And so why pay 16K for AD when I could get the same fantasy points out of LeBron at 14.5? and most likely a lower ownership. So,
Well, I mean, AD kind of did drop 91.5 last matchup.
so I won't lie. AD's ceiling at this point in their careers is higher than LeBron's, but in
No,
this
I understand.
specific matchup,
I was just 91 and a half raw fantasy points is crazy.
I mean, that's pretty nuts. But again, LeBron at 14.5, that I don't know how he went down 500. The questionable tag, I just don't get it, man. Why can't they just make him probable? Like, why is it always questionable? He plays. Questionable, he plays. It's like that. That's what the probable tag's for. Probable, you're probably going to play. You play. Probable, play. They need to get on top of that. They need to fix that because it makes it frustrating for us people here who are, professional sports bettors. So a little frustrating, but nonetheless, like I said, his numbers speak for itself. So he's my number 2 pick. I'll go ahead and finish it off here, at least with my 3rd pick before we jump over to you. My final pick here is going to be Mr. Domantas Sabonis.
No, big one. Okay.
Yeah. Shockingly, he is cheaper than Anthony Davis, which I don't know how, since again, we are, and the Sacramento Kings are 7 of 8, 8 of 9. The last times we played them. Sabonis had, let's see, last time we played, I know he had like 50. What do you have? 59, right? Yeah, he had 50.
61 last time.
I'm sorry, 61. 61 last time. He had 66 the game before that, and then he had an off game at 37.5. Again, that was like our first game of the season. And other than that, though, he's pretty much averaging, 60 fantasy points against them. Bigs against the Lakers. I will do that with every single big on every single team. Always until AD goes to another team, and then I don't know. It's just been the big against the Lakers. The Lakers don't know how to defend big men at all. So, Sabonis again, and I'll be putting Sabonis obviously mainly at MVP, mixing him up. His ownership should be lower at the star. I'd be a little surprised to go pro. I won't have him as much in the pro. But, obviously I'll be mixing in a little bit of Anthony Davis as well. I'm not an idiot. We both know what his upside is. But Domantas Sabonis should have another great night, especially, we're here at home, in front of the home crowd. It's a big win. We need this. We're right there in the pack, the thick of things here for the playoffs with 17, 18 games left for us. So, that's my final pick. What are your thoughts? And then who do you got here to wrap us up with your final pick?
Yeah, I mean, Domantas Sabonis can't go wrong. I mean, he's literally basically averaging a double-double, triple-double every game. I mean, just can't even, I don't even think the game log scrolls back to the last time he didn't get a double-double, at least. So, yeah, and with that it's clearly, he's 15.5. That's what he was at last time they played as well. His ownership, he was at 27.9 in MVP, 26.3 in star, and 5.9 in the pro spot. So basically about the same ownership as, MVP and star.
Okay.
So not too bad there. Bigs against LA, can't go wrong there. Yeah, triple double last matchup. So I don't really have too much to say. I mean, he's been playing lights out. It's just back to back games. Let's just see how he does. Fortunate enough, he did only play like those lower minutes, just like Fox, 33 minutes. So he didn't have have to play 38, 39. I know it only seemed an extra 6-7 minutes, but that is huge. So yeah, I like him. I'm definitely, like I said, going to be rotating these top 4 players in the multiplier. It'd be really hard. I can to see someone outside. I mean, obviously there could be, but these four are kind of basically locks, I think.
Yeah.
So with that, my third pick is probably, I'm going with more of the value play here, just to kind of give people an option here with Mr. Keon Ellis.
Nice.
With Keegan Murray out, it's already been basically announced that he will be starting for whatchamacallit? Oh my God, Keegan Murray. So I'm looking forward to seeing kind of what he can do. Stats are kind of all over the place as he really hasn't started. I mean, really just the last matchup against the Bucks here, but averaging last 36.2 minutes, which does not seem correct.
I think those are giving the last start times he started. Those are the average minutes he had when he was a starter. So that's kind of what those stats do, I think, is what.
Well, I would just say he played 27 minutes. I think the stat's wrong, so my bad on the graphic here. But anyways, he played 27 minutes against Milwaukee. So we'll go with he's averaging probably about, mid-20s when he's starting. Usage is at 16.8. He's averaging 17.9 in his last 5. Keeping in mind, it looks like, he's only 27 minutes Milwaukee, then 17 minutes, 13 minutes, 18 minutes. So not too much. He is projected about 21 points in this matchup, which is basically roughly what he got against Milwaukee. He got 22.8 in this last matchup where he started. So I like him. He's not necessarily a big scorer, but he does, chalk it up pretty good on defense. He came away with 3 steals against the Milwaukee Bucks. The last matchup, 2 steals against San Antonio, 4 steals against Minnesota. So he is, he does contribute, and steals and defense are huge in fantasy here. So that's why I like him. I like that 7K play because it does allow me to use those, 3 of those star play, with James, AD, Fox, a bonus in that multiplier spot with a 7K player down low. So I have, if you can get me at 7K, 22.8 fantasy points, potentially even, versus Minnesota, he got 30. That's almost, guaranteeing him, if not a high probability that he'll be in the optimal with those kind of points at that salary.
Yeah, and I definitely like. I like that Mike Brown is going there and not to Malik Monk. I like that we're keeping Monk off the bench. We have to mention him in this podcast just because a week ago he had 47 fantasy points. He was on fire. He comes off the bench and gives the spark. And with no Keegan Murray, I could see him putting on a show again. A week ago on our other pod, I mentioned Kevin Huerter. It's just insane. I know, right, man? Hey, you watch. I'm just throwing it out there one extra time because the other 2 games besides last game, he played 38 minutes and had 49 fantasy points, and then played 37 minutes and had 32 fantasy points.
Yeah. And he does have the games, but I can guarantee you, I can tell if he's going to have a game in the first 5 minutes that he's on.
Oh,
the floor.
yeah.
If he misses his first 2 shots, it's going to be one of those games. 17 minutes, 5 points. That's it.
And then you'll know it's a Malik Monk night. Do not roster Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter on the same lineup. You will lose money that way. Do not do it. Other than that, though, your Keon Ellis pick, I like it a lot. Great way to roster those guys up there at the top. I'll definitely be rostering him. Watching him play this season, he's been solid when he's been in there. So, I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
All right, and with that, now for everybody who skipped ahead, here are our free lineups for tonight's matchup. Looks like, we do have pretty different lineups here, so get a little full spectrum. So as we wrap up today's discussion, please hit that like button and the subscribe if you haven't already. It does help our channel out, and hey, it's free to do both. And it does help our channel out quite a bit. And also, for hitting, like and subscribe, we're throwing in bonus to you guys. So head over to our shorts section. Geez, I gotta learn how to say that. Shorts section for 2 free prize pick players related to tonight's matchup. It's our way to say thank you, giving you more tools to help you in your DFS adventures. So yeah. Please like, subscribe, notification bell, especially notification bell, as we do update the comments with breaking news, injury news, and things like that. So you will be one of the first to know it if you are subscribed with notifications on. With that, hope everybody wins some money. As this obviously we like it. It's the Kings, so it's the Lakers rivalry there. So with that, good luck, and I'll have David send us off here.
Yep. I don't know how many of you guys did watch or catch any of that Clippers Timberwolves game, but let's just say most of my lineups got ruined there because Kawhi Leonard shockingly got hurt within the first 12 minutes. So. I'll
second that.
So nothing you can do about that. You got to have a short memory here when you play daily fantasy sports. Let's go Kings. Make sure again Fox at 14 and LeBron at 14.5. That's just criminally underpriced to me. I'd be over the field on both of them. And good luck out there. Let's go Kings. Let's finish these guys off. We'll be 4-0, and looking forward to these playoffs coming up. And see you guys all at the top.